Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of Ute Dash. I am one of your hosts today, Sammy, Mora, and as always, I am joined by the lovely Cole Bagley. Cole, how are you today?
Well, Sammy, you just make me feel good when you say the lovely Cole Bagley, because nobody really calls me that besides you. So I'm doing pretty.
Well, you are lovely. You are lovely. So
I'm doing okay. I didn't expect Utah to play as good as they did last night in the first half. I kind of expected how the game went in the second half and the overall outcome of the game. So I'm okay because we saw spurts of greatness, but then last week's team reared its ugly face and we lost. So I'm okay.
yeah, so that's actually you literally just jumped right into this, didn't you, today? You just
I'm ready
want
to
to
go.
talk about it. He's ready to talk about this. So what went wrong? It was good until it wasn't. That's what I'll say. It was really, this was the tale of two halves for Utah. If you really think about it, first half, it looked like a team that we would seen last year. Like the offense was doing good, the defense was doing good. It was a good first half, 21 points, which is more than we can say we scored in the first game against USC.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really happy. I was like, this is really good. We're looking good. And then the second half came. And that was not fun. I don't know what happened. It just looked like we were playing USC again. Like, did they take their foot off the gas? Did they go conservative on the play calling? What was the deal? It was just not good.
The first half made last week's game against USC look like a fluke. I mean, the pass game was good, the run game was great, and the defense honestly looked elite. Then Washington came out and scored a touchdown, stole the momentum, and the team who played USC returned. And so Sammy, I was kind of breaking down the game, looking at stats on offense and defense from the first and second half, and it's pretty remarkable, the difference. So the first half, offensively, Utah scored 21 points, 221 yards, 4 of 7 on third down, and they averaged 6.3 yards a play. That means every two downs is a first down and more.
Yeah.
Compared to the second half, 0 points, 138 yards, 2 for 7 on third down, and average 4.6 yards a play. Now, looking defensively, they allowed no points, which was a huge surprise. Only 127 yards against Utah's defense. Washington was 0-6 on third down, which I didn't realize. And they only averaged 4.5 yards a play. Compared to the second half, Utah allowed 24 points, 233 yards. Washington was 4 of 7 on third down, and they averaged 6.5 yards a play. So it's almost like the two teams, it's almost like they just switched uniforms. It's like,
oh, totally.
It's like Washington played in the second half like Utah played in the first half, and vice versa. And it just really frustrating. And what it came down to, it seems, is halftime adjustments. Washington started to attack more effectively, especially through the air, as they completed 6 of 7 passes, 2 of which were touchdowns to the tight end, Cade Oten. Opposed to he only caught the ball one time in the first half. And it didn't seem like Utah really changed their game plan, and it ended up costing them. And I know that there was a really bad lack of performance on both sides of the ball for Utah in the second half. But this one might come down to coaching. It could come down to strategy a little bit. And I know that the offensive coordinator was taking quite a bit of heat last night after the game.
And I agree. It does seem like it was like they just switched jerseys at halftime. My mom even fully said to me this morning, she's like, was there body snatchers or something? Because it was just night and day. It was two different teams. Like, and the thing is I'm more upset about the offense's performance in the second half than I am the defense's.
Agreed.
Because the defense was still in the game for a good chunk of it. They had Monte Davis had that good interception that we could have like extended our lead and made it another 2-possession game, if not by Jordan's fumble.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm more upset about the offense and how the offense performed in the second half. In the second half, it looked like we were back to playing USC. There was bad interceptions from Bentley. Jordan had that fumble, but I'm not. The thing is about the Jordan fumble is, yes, it was a backbreaker, but on the other side of it, that was he's a freshman. I'm not going to call for him to be benched. I'm not going to call for him to be like shut down. It was a mistake. he's going to learn from it. The coaches obviously trusted him again because he went back into the game after that fumble.
Right.
So I'm just more upset with the offense. But I think my biggest the biggest play that stands out to me is that freaking QB sneak on the 4th down. You had Solomon Enos coming around the backside. Toss it to him. He has the speed.
It looked like a play option. It looked like regardless if it wasn't, all it takes is here you go. Here's the football.
Yeah, exactly. And like Enos could get the edge. Enos has the speed to get the edge and get the yard, and Utah's moving downfield again.
Well, and 2 Washington linebackers came on a blitz, and so he would have had that edge.
It was a stacked box. That right there is the stupidest play call that Ludwig. There was a lot of really problematic play calls in this game. I will say that, but this QB sneak on a 4th and 1 when you have a wide receiver coming off of the edge and you could have just done it. A simple shovel to get the edge when you had 2 linebackers in the box blows my mind. It blows my mind that that's what they went with.
It's tough that was the choice when Ty was having a good game on the ground. And even Brumfield and Wilmore were averaging enough yards to get that 1st down.
Yeah, all of the running backs were having a good game.
Every single carry was more than they needed for that. I think it was 4th and 2?
It was like a 4th and 1, 4th and 2. It was a short situation.
I just think any QB sneak that's not 4th and inches is often not a great decision unless you have someone like a Tyler Huntley who has the athleticism and the strength to get that. Sure, Bentley was okay with his legs, but that just is a questionable play call.
You have you have Ty Jordan, who is averaging 9.6 yards a carry. You have Devin Brumfield, who is averaging 3.9, and you have Jordan Wilmore, who is averaging 3. That is plenty. That is plenty. Or how about this? How about this idea? You run Brandt on just like a little post, post.
Well, a small inside post with any of your wide receivers, with Thompson, with Covey. Any of those guys, a small, quick inside post, especially Covey. Covey, his role 2 years ago was to move the chains. He didn't score a single touchdown in 2018, although he passed for one. But he had over 600 yards receiving, and it was all because he could be trusted to get those short plays, to get the third and short or 4th, whatever it is. Put the freaking ball in his hands.
But so yes, the offense was really disappointing in the second half and that 4th down play is that's gonna be sitting in the back of my mind for years to come now. It has replaced that really bad, questionable interception that Utah had against UW in the Pac-12 championship in 2018, but we'll digress with that. The defense, I feel like, kind of like started to play it safe. They started playing safe in the second half. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like there was less blitzes in the second half than there were in the first half.
It seemed to be that way. And in the first half, the announcers were making comments about how the Utah defense was doing a really good job of disguising the secondary, especially on that initial interception that took place. Washington's quarterback didn't see him behind his own receiver.
Fabian played that really well.
He did.
And then he also had the almost interception too.
And it was the same strategy. He was hidden on both of those, and they stopped doing that. I feel like they kind of backed off, and the slot opened up immensely in the second half for Washington.
The last thing I want to say about this before we jump to the second topic is the Utah defensive line was handling that UW offensive line. They were talking pregame about how this was like a big offensive line for UW, how like all of them are like 6 foot plus, and then like 250 pounds plus. And they were talking about how like these are people movers. No, they were being moved by the Utah defensive line because they only had 97 yards rushing total. Or 88. Their net yard was 88.
Ty Jordan had more himself.
Ty Jordan had more yards himself than the whole running back room of Washington, who they said was really good.
Yeah.
So
honestly, Sammy, this wasn't. I don't really blame the defense. If the offense would have scored a single touchdown in the second half, Utah would have walked away with the victory. Utah's defense did everything they could to win that football game. So I really don't put much blame on them.
I don't. They set up the Utah defense was putting the offense in a position to score, and the offense was just not able to capitalize on that.
Well, and I think that the 2 of the 3 interceptions didn't turn into scoring drives or plays.
Well, there was the one at halftime, and then there was the one that led to the Jordan fumble, or the Ty Jordan fumble.
Right. So Washington scored on 2 interceptions, off of 2 interceptions, where Utah's offense didn't do anything with them. So yeah, defense, you're good.
Defense, you guys are good in our books this week.
Where it counts.
Where it counts. Okay.